Okay, as requested, I am going to do the video for how I went about setting up my little dashboard for Plex. It's multifaceted. There's a lot of little moving parts to it. Um, to that end, you're going to have to kind of bear with me here. I've decided to split the video up into 7 different videos, one for each component. And, from there, we'll kind of let things go as they go. Each video, I'm going to post under the comments the individual commands I use for what I'm getting done. Let me just start that VM connection up. So to that end, look for those there. Any official links that I use for what I'm going to do, I will also post there, so you can kind of keep track of everything. Okay. So first thing is, I haven't typed root over and over again, or sudo, so I'll just do root. Now, I need to get my prerequisites in. There are several. I can go into detail with you if you'd like. Long and the short of it is, for the various things we're going to utilize, this is all stuff they're going to want before you even install them. So I'm going to go ahead and kick that off. While those are installing, I'll kind of run through some of them. So curl is obviously curl. Wget was in there as well. Snapd, I use snapd for installing Tatuli. Various OpenCL binaries, which Plex is going to look for as far as quick sync, hardware transcoding, and hardware acceleration. cifs-utils is in there because I use Samba for connections to my NAS. Git was in there. Python 3 virtual environment, Python 3 pip. Those are necessary for Varkin's installation. Git, because again, Varkin. Htop was in there. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a process monitoring app, essentially. I use it as part of my default profile so that when I log into the server, the first thing it does is pull that up. And I have it set to filter down to just the user Plex, so I can see what the CPU cores are doing, what the memory is doing, and so forth from a CLI level. So if I actually SSH into the box, this is what I'll get. So, let's say Grafana crashed, I can still have this up as a way of monitoring everything. Not to mention, for the live Plex server, it lives in a rack. So inside the rack, either there's a pull-out KVM console, and of course when I pull out the KVM console, that's what comes up. I don't get the terminal prompt. I'm sitting at that htop screen, which I can bail out and get to a prompt if I need to. For the time being, I'm just going to pause this because this will take a little while to run through, and I will unpause when we're back. Okay, and we're back. So we've got our prerequisites installed. A couple of house cleaning notes. Plex, because of the way I use it, needs a mount point, needs somewhere for the data to live. So I'm just going to really quickly make a folder, and then I'm going to allow complete access to said folder because don't really care otherwise. That's personal preference, just it's easier for me, and I'm lazy. You can choose to lock yours down, do a 755 or whatever the case may be. I just find this is simpler. The next thing is I need to mount this folder. I need to put something there. So while we are in an Etsy folder, we are going to take a look at fstab. And in here is where all your automatic mounts go. Well, we installed cifs-utils, so I can throw this little line in here. Going to the NAS, going to the share, and then this subfolder. Note the \040. Alright, that is an escape code for a space. In fstab, you cannot do spaces. You have to do something like that. If you try and do quotes, escape characters, whatever, it won't work. So you have to do the \040 to give you the escape code. And this chunk here is where I'm going to specify the credentials for that share. So we got that in place. Now let's take a look at my home folder. That's not right. That's not right either. That's right. There we go. Alright, so as you can see, there is nothing here. So we're going to make a .creds file. .creds, we're going to put username, and it was demo user. And we're going to put the password in. this is the creds used to get to the NAS. So if I do a mount A, and then I do an ls on data, hey look, there's all my content. Okay, so what we have now is we've got our prereqs in, we've got a mount to the NAS with the folder we're interested in adding a library for. Next thing to do is to actually add Plex. Now, to that end, we need to, the easiest way is to follow Plex's own guidelines. I use their repositories for it. So, do this to add the repository. We're going to do this to add the key for the repository. And then we're just going to do an apt update. And this is going to go out, talk to their repository, get a list of whatever's good. And then we'll be able to do a direct install. This is, for me, the simplest way. I mean, I'm not a person who uses a lot of Docker type stuff, so this actually works better for me. It allows me to essentially install, and when I want to update, I just install in place. It works beautifully. Something I'll point out is during this install, you will get a prompt talking about the package maintainer using their versions of stuff. You can just say yes, use the package maintainer's version. That's what I do, and it hasn't given me any problems. The other thing is, if you did not install the OpenCL prerequisites, you're going to know it here, because when it gives you a nice little infogram of what all is being done, it's going to bark at you and tell you those are not there. If they are not there, I have never had luck installing them after the fact. Here's that first warning about the maintainer version, so we're going to say yes. And here's where you would get yelled at if you didn't have the binaries. Right there. It would come right out and tell you that you're missing those binaries. I stumbled across that one pretty much accidentally. But, so now it's just part of my default setup. Alright, so let's clear up. And let's look at the status of the Plex Media Server service. It is actively running. It's got processes. It's great. Here's that htop command I was talking about. Go here. Boom. I got 4 cores. They're lit up like a Christmas tree right now because Plex is just starting up. And this is a VM, so it's, not running at full tilt. But as you can see what each core is doing. You can see the processes sorted by who's being the most intensive CPU-wise. Alright, so let's clear out of that. And now if I come over here and I say Plex 32400 web, there's my Plex. Now the real question is, can I remember my login? That does not look like it. Ha! That could be fun. Of course, that doesn't help any at all there. Let's see. Alright, so rather than lock myself out, I'm going to stop this, do a quick reset, and we'll come back. Okay, so you guys are probably going to laugh at me because I'm sure one of you caught it and I didn't. While waiting for that recovery email, I happened to notice that I didn't have the damn .com after Gmail. That was intelligent. So, yeah, didn't recover, just needed to do that. Alright. So, I don't want PlexPass right now because I have it on my main account. Okay, we're going to call this server Plex. And leave that default. I say next. And we're going to add a media library. We'll call it movies. And the folder for that was going to be that data folder we created. There we go. Add library. Next. Done. Alright. That's a holdover from a previous setup I had. So now it's going to go ahead and pull in, all of that content. In fact, while I'm here, let's get rid of that holdover. In case anyone ever wants to know, you can go here, remove, yoink, gone. Now we can go here, and there's movies as it's pulling them in. There's about 1,600, so that's going to take some time. So we're just going to let that go, and I'm going to be done with this video pretty much because this got your Plex server up. You're connected to your NAS, assuming you have one. Again, SMB, not NFS. If you want to do NFS, that's your choice. I just prefer SMB. It's what I know. It's what I'm good with, so I just stay with that. And I'll be back in a minute with video 2, and we'll do Tatuli.